Hi, welcome to the Culinary Cam YouTube channel. I'm going to share one of our family's favorite cookie recipes, and it was based on what I'm going to call the Great Oklahoma Cookie Diss of 2003. I'm not going to tell you the story, but I will link to it in the description box below so you can read the whole sordid tale. But this cookie is one of our family's favorites. It took me years to make it again after 2003, but now I make it every holiday season. First, we're going to go to the stove and we're going to melt 2 cups of chocolate chips over a double boiler or bain-marie, and that is nothing complicated. It's just a saucepan with some water and then a bowl that fits nicely on top of that. The water should not touch the bottom of the bowl, and then chocolate chips in the bowl. I'm going to go over to the stove and let that come to a simmer over medium heat. Be right back. So we have melted those 2 cups of chocolate chips. It's just nice and smooth, and that is going to cool just a little bit while we make the rest of the batter. Okay, so this is just a basic cookie recipe. It has 1 cup of butter and then 1.5 cups of sugar, and it's 1 cup of granulated sugar and 1/2 cup of lightly packed brown sugar. So just a hand blender. I'm going to cream together that butter and sugar. Okay, when you've got pea-sized chunks or thereabouts, then you're going to add in the eggs. And there's 3 eggs. And you're just going to blend that. And once that is nicely combined, then you're just going to mix in your melted chocolate. And you're just going to blend that until you have a nice, uniform, rich, chocolatey batter. Then I have 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top. I'm just going to mix that up to get rid of the clumps of the baking soda and the cinnamon. If you want to, you can sift that. And then a teaspoon of vanilla, and I like this vanilla extract from the Casa Market. We did a taste test between the Casa Market's vanilla extract and vanilla paste. I will link to that in the description below, but for this case, when you're not going to be able to see those beautiful vanilla seeds, I just use extract. And then I have 2 3/4 cup flour. I'm just going to add in batches to make sure it's fully incorporated. Low blend. And once that's incorporated, you can do it again. And scrape down the edges. And last addition of flour. With that last addition, it might be thick enough you might need to move to a spatula and finish it off by hand. You want to make sure that you've incorporated all that flour into your batter. And then when you have that nice uniform chocolate color, then you're going to mix in your other ingredients. I always make this during the holidays because the red and green, I love this color combination. 1.5 cups of pistachios and 1.5 cups of dried cranberries, and then 2 cups of chocolate chip. You're just going to give that a stir with your spatula until everything is nicely incorporated. All the cranberries and the nuts and the chocolate chips are evenly mixed throughout the batter. You're going to scoop these cookies out onto a sheet lined with a silicone mat or parchment paper. These go in the freezer to chill for about 10 minutes while you preheat your oven. And the oven is going to preheat to 375 degrees, and they just bake for about 10 minutes. I'm going to pop these in the freezer. So these cookies have been in the oven preheated to 375 degrees for between 10 and 11 minutes. So I pulled them out of the oven. I'm going to let them cool on the tray for just a little bit, and then I'm going to move them to a wire rack to cool completely. So when you're making a big batch of cookies, there's a lot of sheet management going on. I recommend having at least 3 sheet pans so you can be putting the scoops on one's chilling, one's baking, and then you're rotating them all, and you can get through several dozen cookies in not too long of a time. All right, the next batch is in the oven. With most cooking and baking, I always have a little culinary innovation and use what I have. And I received this as a gift from a friend, actually a friend I met in Oklahoma. She and her family had recently gone to Iceland, and she brought me back this Icelandic finishing salt. So I'm actually going to take these cookies and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on top, and we'll see how that tastes. I love the mixture of sweet and savory, so the chocolate and the dried cranberries and the pistachio and a little bit of the salt from Iceland. If you like this video, please click like and definitely hit that notification and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And if you try this recipe, let me know in the comments what you think.